Welcome to another fine episode of This Week in Comics. I'm your host Pete, here as always in Comic Connections Banbury and Oxfordshire's longest running comic store. And what we're going to do today is run down some of the best comics coming out this Wednesday. That is the 25th of July. So get your bags and boards ready, we're going to run down some comic books. There are two very big releases this week, and we'll start with the big one from DC, and that is of course Batman Curse of the White Knight by Sean Murphy, the follow-up to White Knight that came out in 2017, kind of ended last year if I remember rightly, probably wrong, but it was brilliant. It was a great mini-series that featured an Elseworlds tale where the Joker was cured of his insanity and turned all of Gotham against Batman. It was a great series. You all read it, even I read it, and I'm not a Bat fan, I'm a Superman fan, as regular viewers will know, but this is very exciting. I've got a copy, you should have a copy, I'm sure you've all pre-ordered it. If you haven't, pop into store, hopefully we've still got some copies left on the shelf, but I know you've ordered it, so come in, grab your copy. It's a public service announcement, you all know this is coming out. Get your copy today, can't wait to read this one myself. A lot of folks stop me in the street and they recognise me from this video and say, Pete, why don't you read Marvel comics? Don't you like them? I do like Marvel comics, I just can't read everything. I read a lot of DC, a few indies, so Marvel is kind of on the side. But back in the 90s when I was a young teen Pete, I used to enjoy the X-Men. It's fallen off the wayside a little bit in recent years, mainly due to the fact Marvel didn't have the movie rights, but as they now have the rights back, they're putting their effort into the X-Men again. And here we are, brand new X book, House of X by Jonathan Hickman, one of the biggest writers from Marvel for the past few years, done some amazing work on the Avengers and various miniseries. He's now thrown his hat into the X-Men pool and he's going to relaunch this book and make it as special as it was in the 90s, 80s and 90s when Claremont, Jim Lee, John Byrne, all those great creators were on board. House of X. I am definitely going to read this one myself. Like I say, don't buy Marvel comics as a rule, but I can't not check this one out. It's exciting stuff. I really want the X-Men to be top and fresh and centre of the Marvel Universe. They deserve it. They used to be. And like I say, for one reason or another, they've kind of been pushed to the side. But this has got to be the rebirth, the relaunch of the X family as we know it. Plenty of X titles have been announced as well at the San Diego Comic-Con these past few days. So if you pick this up, if you enjoy it, come into store, put all the new X-Men titles on regular standing order with us, and enjoy being an X-Man or X-Lady. Staying on the 90s theme, back in the 90s, Archie went up against the Predator. That's right, comical Archie went up against the Predator from the Predator movies. And he's doing it again in Archie vs Predator 2 from Archie Comics. It has, as it looks, it's the characters from the Archie franchise. There's Archie, there's the other ones, and there's a Predator. Don't think he's got a funny Riverdale name, but he might have. Archie vs Predator 2. If it wasn't random enough the first time, they found another way to do a 5-issue miniseries based on this strange pairing. So if you're a fan of the Predator movies, if you're a fan of the Riverdale TV show, if you're a fan of both, this is for you. In recent years, DC have had this knack of throwing out books that people aren't that excited about and making them top sellers. We spoke about White Knight earlier, the Batman book. We also had Mr. Miracle from Tom King and Mitch Gerards came out as well. Brilliant books. One of those titles that people didn't generally order at first, but as it went on, the buzz, the hype surrounding it got people on board, and by the end of those runs they were top sellers. And one book that I think is going to be along those lines is Martian Manhunter, which is on its 7th issue, and I've been buying it since issue 1. I was drawn to it mainly by the art. It just looked a little bit different, something a bit different from DC, and I've always had a bit of a soft spot for old John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, and this kind of follows his origin. They're retelling his origin in this excellent book. Like I say, issue 7 is out this week. It's a 12-issue maxi series, so if you have missed the first 7, I'm sure they are still available on the shelf, but if you have been checking it out, issue 7 is out this week, and I urge you all to give this a go. It's really good stuff, and I think it's going to be one of those sleeper hits. When it comes to an end, I think the price might rise a little bit, and then you'll have to pay some big bucks to get the full run. So check it out. I've been enjoying it, and so should you. A couple of years back now, we had a relaunch of Thor with Jane Foster taking on the role of the God of Thunder or the Goddess of Thunder. That is now being made into a film at San Diego Comic-Con. The new Thor movie was announced, Love and Thunder I do believe it's called. But yeah, it's going to be featuring Jane Foster in the role of Thor. So if you enjoyed that comic run, you're getting a movie based around it. But Jane Foster is not out for the count in the comics. She is now taking up the role of Valkyrie in this brand new issue 1 from Marvel. So if you want to learn more about Jane Foster, maybe you didn't read her run as the female Thor, and you want to know a bit more about her before this movie comes out, you've got a couple of years to wait, of course. But this is a good jumping on point for you Jane Foster fans, taking up the role of Valkyrie. Looks pretty decent, some lovely art in there as well. Written by Jason Aaron and Al Ewing. So two people there, very, very good writers. We've got Al Ewing signing in this store yet again in September. So pick up your copy of Valkyrie issue 1 today, bring it in a couple of months and get him to sign it. Speaking of Marvel movies, maybe you jumped into the comic medium based on how much you enjoyed the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and maybe you're getting to know a lot of the comic versions of the characters and you're a bit confused, you're not sure where things fit. Marvel have got you covered with issue 1 of the history of the Marvel Universe by the always excellent Mark Waid. This is exactly as it sounds. It's a retelling of the history of the Marvel Universe. Looks really, really good. It's got stories that start really at the very start of time for the Earth. So I'm assuming it's going to go on and on as the issues go and bring it up to date. But yeah, if you want to learn more about the Marvel Universe, especially a few obscure characters that maybe you've not seen in the films or you've not seen in cartoons or in the main comics, this is the book for you. Check it out. Mark Waid, always good. You're going to get something very special from the history of the Marvel Universe. Now a book for all you Transformer fans or fans who think Transformers are rubbish. It's GoBots. They're probably better than Transformers. Definitely, you can take that to the bank. Hey, Transformers fans, GoBots are better. I can't back that up with any facts, I'm afraid. I'm just winding you up. But if you are a fan of the GoBots, they have got a trade paperback collection of their miniseries in stores now by Tom Scioli. It's very good. It's very abstract with the art. It's taken a bit of fun with the GoBots franchise, but also being a bit of a love letter to you 3 GoBots fans that are out there. So for all of you, GoBots, Go Botty. That's what they should have called it. It's not even got a name. Obviously, if you like comics, you like video games because they're nerd things. I like them and I very much like the video game franchise The Division. I'm currently still playing The Division 2, and when I'm not playing Division games, I'm reading about them in the Division hardcover out this week. If you're a fan of Tom Clancy's Division series on the Xbox or PlayStation or whatever you play your games on, your Nintendos, your Game Gears, I don't know what you kids are playing on these days, The Division is for you. It's a great, great game, open world action adventure game where you're going around a desolate city that's been wiped out due to disease and killing lots of rival gangs that are kicking around. So if you want to learn more about the Division franchise that you haven't got from the countless hours you've no doubt put into the game, this Division hardcover is for you. I was going to do Toy of the Week this week, but it's 32 degrees out and all the action figures have melted, so we can't do it. So all I can do now is wrap up the video, as we always like to say. Like the video, share the video to all your family and friends, subscribe as well, leave some mentions in the comment section, some of your favourite comics that are coming out, things you think we should talk about on the video. Always happy to have your feedback. I'll be back next week with more from this week in comics. If you're local to Banbury or you're just nearby, pop into Comic Connections, put some comics on standing order with us. You will save 20% off cover price and get them reserved behind the counter so you don't miss an issue. That is pretty good stuff. Like I say, I'll be back next week. Thank you for watching. Ciao for now.